Your mission, if you choose to accept it, is to share this episode with one of your friends.
If you choose to accept, this message will not self-destruct and you will be fine and safe in 5 seconds. Share now. Go. Please. Share button.
Thank you for sharing with your friend.
Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning Part 1.
Oh my goodness, bro.
Dude, this movie.
Okay, I knew this was gonna be good. But I was shook on how good it was.
This is the summer blockbuster we've been waiting for.
Yes.
Like, this is a couple years ago. I don't know if you saw those Tom Cruise when they were filming this in the middle of COVID, right? In the summer of 2020. And like there was an article or like some paparazzi came out. No, it was a cast member or took like a recording of Tom Cruise flipping out.
Yeah.
You remember that, right?
Oh,
We're changing the world. How dare you not wear your mask? Yada 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 yada.
This could you're like, don't be stupid.
Don't be stupid. Look, when he did that, I was like, yes, people don't be stupid. Also, Tom, like, chill, bro. But now after seeing this, okay, Tom, like, I take back my comments about you calming down. No, this is a solid movie that needed to be filmed, and I appreciate him being very strict on that because this is a solid movie.
This is a phenomenal movie. It is you've got an homage to to so many things in the first one and into several other things that happen in for the franchise.
Yeah.
You've got wild set pieces, wild action sequences. You have deep, like, just impactful moments of like pure just feelings.
Yeah.
And you just got freaking familia, bro. Yeah,
better
Los amigos.
Better than Dom Toretto could ever do.
Dude, yes.
Right? Also, like, I want to point out the fact that this is a 2 hour and 45-minute long movie. The longest of the Mission Impossible movies.
Yes.
I did not feel like it was that long. It felt long. No, it was longer, but I never was like,
when is this over?
When is this over? Right?
Yes.
Never happened to me.
And spoiler alert, it does not actually, I'm not,
Yeah.
I am very happy that it did not end with a cliffhanger.
Should we get into that right now?
Let's do it.
Okay, let's get into that. So this summer this is the third movie this summer that's a part 1.
Yep, we have.
Okay. We had Spider-Man across the Spider-Verse.
Yep.
And we had Fast 10. Mm-hmm. And now Part 1, Dead Reckoning Part 1.
Correct.
You've seen Fast 10.
I've also seen Spider-Man.
And you've seen Spider-Man. I haven't seen either one.
I know.
Okay, I know. I'm failing.
It's okay. I understand.
I understand. This was very much marketed as a Part 1.
So was Spider-Verse was announced as a Part 1 and then Part 2. But it wasn't like necessarily fully marketed.
Sure.
I would say that.
And Fast 10, I think people knew that it was going to be. People were confused because it was Fast X, Fast 10, but there was no sub caption.
It was literally the day before the full actual like global release when they were that Vin Diesel comes out and says there might be 3.
Oh, this is going to be
part 1 of maybe 3.
Of maybe 3.
Or so, I don't know. I was just mad.
But the point is, this did a great job at setting viewers' expectations.
Yes.
With that element of going in and knowing that there may be some things that aren't paid off.
Correct.
Right? And maybe some, not plot holes, but storylines that just aren't
like what's going to happen,
right? Because there's a part 2 that's coming up. So I from a marketing perspective, great job.
Yes.
This is a great job. And even if we look back at like Infinity War, when Infinity War and Endgame were announced, they were announced as part one and part two.
Yes.
And then like a year later, they're like, oh no, it's just Infinity War and then the other one. So I think a lot of people left Infinity War being like, oh, our heroes lost and what? And there was a very intentional, emotional decision made, right?
Yes.
But I think for the average viewer, they were kind of.
And I mean, let's talk about the struggle. Part 1s and part 2s in movies are hard.
Yes.
I just don't. I was for a little bit. I didn't quite have an opinion, but I think this movie solidified my thoughts. Mission Fast X ends with a ridiculous cliffhanger. Absolutely. In fact, almost very similar in like beats in the like situation that this movie does.
Okay.
With the explosions on a bridge, or in like not a bridge, but like a bridge, like it's more of a dam, but it's like in the explosions, this thing that's gonna break, and there's gonna be consequences, right? Mm-hmm. But and then it just ends, and you're like, what?
So it ends in a massive cliffhanger.
Oh, massive cliffhanger! I would say, and then in Spider-Verse also a cliffhanger.
But is there any like resolution?
No.
To either one.
So
more so.
I can't remember 100% on Spider-Verse.
Yeah.
Just because I watched it the one time, I vividly remember Fast X just because it was so ridiculous.
Yeah.
But I would say yes. There's a little bit of a resolution that happens that is like, but it's basically that you have it's like a cliffhanger, and we're all kind of left like, oh, what's gonna happen? But I think where on Spider-Verse you're left with like a little bit of excitement.
Yes.
Right. In Fast X, you're left with confusion.
So as a viewer, for you, how did you feel leaving Fast 10?
I was feeling all sorts of stuff because that movie was wild.
Okay, but specifically around the ending.
The ending, I was pissed.
Okay,
I was pissed.
Yeah, rightfully so.
Oh yes.
Whereas this movie gives us gives us a proper ending. Like you could just watch this on its own
and it'd be fine,
and you'll be fine. Yes. Right? There was.
They could have almost not made it. They could have kind of done what Infinity War and Endgame, that like they're connected, but it's its own movie. But I kind of like that we understand that this is like this movie feels like a movie. It's complete, but it's also the setup.
The setup. The story's going to continue.
Yes.
And you and I watched this at the same time. We watched it together, and when we left the theater, I said something along the lines of like, I as a viewer wanted, knowing that it's a part 1, I wanted more of a cliffhanger, right? Mm-hmm. Now that I've had a couple of days to like chew on it and let it bake, no, I love it. I actually was expecting a cliffhanger. I was expecting a cliffhanger. I wanted a bigger cliffhanger.
Even in the third act, as we were like, I'm like, I think they're gonna do it. They're gonna leave us with this like wild, like what's gonna happen, but they didn't. And I'm just so grateful.
And maybe not so much a cliffhanger. I wanted more of like an Infinity War style of defeat.
Yeah, right? That's a good way of putting it.
I think that's kind of what I was expecting, was these guys are going to, the IMF team has always succeeded, right?
Yeah.
I think maybe by the end of this movie, we're going to see them actually fail. And the next movie is going to have to be them
trying to, come back, right? Come some that.
But it wasn't. And I do appreciate that. Like, I think as a viewer, I went in, I paid my ticket, I had the experience, I was given a story that had a complete resolution, but with some threads that are going to be met and addressed in part 2.
Okay. Can we, before we get into like some of the nitty gritty stuff, can we address, because we talk about this ending and we've already mentioned that it's like other movies have compared. Look, this and the fact that we brought up Tom Cruise is like him getting mad at the crew, and like him, we all kind of have that moment where like, Tom, come on, man,
Tom, chill.
Yo. But I can see, like when you watch this film, you understand, and and I honestly, I look back now and I'm like, I don't know if this was for him. Like it was for him, but he was like, I think he fully believes believed in the story. He believed in wanting to tell it the best way he can possibly, and have people experience it the best that they can possibly can. And I think we see this, especially when look at this contrast in Fast X and in some of this stuff that we've been discussing with Dial of Destiny. Okay, in this franchise, much like in Fast X, we have a character who cannot, to his core, distinguish the one from the many and the many from the one.
Okay. Yeah.
Right? Dom also has a similar situation where he just is like familia, and he wants to take care of it, and he wants to save the world. I've always really loved the Fast and Furious films, but the last several, they've gotten, obviously they're trying to compete. They're trying to make a big deal.
Yeah.
They're fun, whatever. But this Fast 10 really threw me for a loop, and it shook. It didn't shake me, but it just solidified the fact that they're doing too much for just so they can make maybe a buck or whatever. I look at this film and I see the people who love what they do. I see the passion because they did almost all. They brought back old characters that we didn't actually know if they were dead or not, and they're involved. We bring new characters. We bring flashbacks. They bring in crazy set pieces that that land better and feel, although have CG, and I think at times I could tell, I knew that was CG, but the sense of not only the acting but also just the way they did the pacing, what was important in those moments, trump what is fully happening.
Sure.
That we never see in Indiana Jones.
Yeah.
Right? With danger and some of the other situations. We're seeing a whole bunch of fast movement, car chase and another car chase and things happening really fast, and we don't quite see any sort of reactions. It's just 3-second reaction here and then cut back to the bigger chase scene and okay, fun time. But this movie does everything just so well.
I love that you bring up this passion that these filmmakers have, right? You're going back and forth between Fast 10, Indiana Jones. I don't know why. I'm thinking of James Bond. Very clearly, I want to lay out. I love Daniel Craig's James Bond set of movies. Love them all. Yeah, there's one or two that are a little iffy, but as a full story, they're great. Daniel Craig, though, was contracted to do these movies. And I don't want to say that he looks tired. No, because he did a phenomenal, especially in this most recent one, in this last one. Great stuff. I really like him. One day we'll revisit it. But Tom Cruise has no contract with these movies.
No.
He makes them because he loves making them. Yeah. He loves the character. He loves the story. Right? And he associates himself with a Christopher McQuarrie, with others that also love and want to do it. And you see that and you feel it in this movie, right? And I think that's what's so awesome about an Ethan Hunt versus a James Bond type of...
Well,
I mean, they're both secret agents, they're spies, but yeah, I feel the passion in this. Not that there wasn't that passion in James Bond, but it's very palpable here.
Yeah. I also think that we've been revisiting the Indiana Jones, and Indiana Jones was inspired for a more American James Bond.
Yeah.
Right? This Mission Impossible is that. Yeah. Now the difference is we've had the same character play the main role, and I fully believe that this franchise is going to continue.
I hope this franchise continues.
And we don't. And the thing is, I think now let's talk about some of the characters. Let's talk about some of the things that come into play for this film. Yes. Where do you want to start?
I want to start off with Haley Atwell with Grace.
Yes. Do you know what I forgot? I forgot she played Agent Carter.
Yeah. This is what I want to start off with. I feel like Haley Atwell has struggled to find have a breakout role outside of Peggy Carter. Okay.
Yes.
Not that she's a bad actress, but she has struggled with the breakout role outside of Peggy Carter. This is it.
you know what I would say? What my statement is on my, not only do I think this is it, I think that freaking Marvel freaking messed up.
Okay.
They messed up. They were going to do a whole agent, like a more official, like Carter, bigger series situation. And they made it into like that, like Agent Carter miniseries. Right. And I think that they freaking they didn't I don't think they believed in her, because she comes into this with freaking a stacked cast that Mission Impossible always carries.
Well-established cast, right? Yeah.
Not only holds her own, steals some of the moments.
Oh yeah, and holds her own with the rest of the cast, but with Tom Cruise, who is a very commanding force on screen
and in these films,
right? And so like, I love Grace. I love Haley Atwell in this. She is incredible. She's awesome. I want more of her. Here's a hot take. Tom, like when you're ready to, Tom, because you're listening, I'm looking at you right in the eyes. When you're ready to not retire, but like pass on the mantle, Haley Atwell is who you should go with.
Yes.
I'm putting my reputation here.
Put it out to the universe. I think she could be okay, we got to talk a little bit more too, because like in this film, we get so much about the IMF that we've never had prior. I don't think.
No. Yeah, you're right.
What we've always understood about the IMF is that it's a mission force, or it's a team that runs as a black team, basically independent from the U.S. government, but is connected to the U.S. government to fulfill jobs that like Langley, that FBI, all these
CIA,
all these whatever, don't feel like there's no way that they're ever going to do that, because they cannot justify it or whatever the reason is. Correct?
Mm-hmm.
We need to do, we'll get there, I guess. Let me ask the question and then we can pin it for a little bit. I feel like I'm lost on a little bit on where some of the lead, like with why, freaking, I just lost his name.
Kittredge.
Yeah, Kittredge.
Okay.
Where he's at, because he's CIA director in this, correct?
I believe so.
I mean, I rewatched it today. But like, he's a CIA director, but wasn't the black in Fallout, the black girl, she was a CIA director, or was she not the CIA? Because
yes. What's her name?
Yeah, I can't remember her name right now.
Yeah.
But from Fallout.
She was a CIA director.
Correct.
Right.
And then we had...
and Henry Cavill was her go-to agent.
Yeah. And then we had... what's his name? Big dude. The one that was like the IMF director. But he was not the... I don't know. Because he made a lateral move from the CIA. What's his name?
Oh,
man, I can't think of his name. He got in trouble with like... he fired a gun and it killed a girl. Like...
Baldwin.
There we go.
Yeah, he made a... He was
CIA director, because Renner was it was with IMF, and they had the Senate, and he, anyways, okay. Sorry, I was just.
I mean, the one thing I will like, I appreciate these movies have always, for the most part, up until the last three, have had a new director, right, etc. Like film director, but also they've always had a different IMF director.
Yeah.
Which I don't know if I like that, because I recently watched the third one, and Lawrence Fishburne as the IMF director was so good, but so was all the other ones that they've had. Anyways, but
we don't. Here's the thing: is like in the third one, we understand that Ethan Hunt he goes to like freaking like a normal job is just training agents.
Yeah.
Okay, so we know that there's like, this is like a big organization,
massive organization.
Yeah, it's a massive organization, and yet from that point forward, and even to like this one, we know that it's this massive organization, but we also always like stick with this core IMF unit, which brings me to one of my other actors that I'm kind of like excited to see what they do, which is the two agents that are following the black guy and who's talking to the other guy who says, is this personal? Do you know him? He's like, no, I don't know him. He's like, personally. He's like, but it is personal.
But it is personal, yeah.
You know?
The character's name, they're agents for the community, and it's Jasper Briggs, played by Shea Wiggum, and his partner Degas, played by Greg Davis. But yeah, those two. So they're part of the community, and the community is the group of all those directors.
Got it.
That you saw. So the director of the CIA, the director of IMF and National Security, etc. So that's the community.
Got it. Okay. I don't think okay. When did they introduce the community?
This one.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh man, there's so much to unpack.
So much. Yeah.
Yeah. I thought that I feel like there's something going to happen in the next one that they didn't. It's like it was there. It was subtle, but I think there's some big payoff coming, and I just, or at least maybe not big payoff, but like I feel like there's going to be a good payoff that will be rewarding in the next part. Maybe not for the two characters, but for like with that maybe with the black agent, because he's kind of the Goss who's kind of questioning some things. I don't know. I just think that those characters they were in it in this movie with different moments with Kittredge and like Ethan and him holding a gun to Ethan. Sorry, not Degas, but the other one, Jasper had a clear shot to take out Ethan and doesn't do it.
Yeah. So let's dig into this. This whole movie is about choice.
About choice.
Choice, about agency, about that. Yeah, about choosing, right?
Yes.
And the fact that you just said this, we don't know a lot about the IMF, right? We haven't known a lot about the IMF. I was listening to an interview that Christopher McQuarrie did, and he said for this movie, he wanted audiences to, even if you've never seen a Mission Impossible movie, the last 5, 7, however many, 6, for you to come in and have a well understanding. And he said, that's why we dug into the whole concept of the IMF in here.
Oh, this is so good.
But also not only to help new audiences, but also to dig into these themes of choice. And he said specifically, of choice and the other word, accept, right? What is it about choosing and accepting? Are they the same? Are they not the same? How do they support one another? What contradictions are there between choosing and accepting? For agents, every mission starts, if you choose to accept, right? So there is choice that gets involved in choosing a mission.
When they open this up, because like the opening sequence for this film before even the title credits roll is phenomenal, and like it's a whole thing of exposition in a situation that happens right at the beginning of the film, and it's the community, these government leaders in America that are like part of the agencies, and they're discussing this entity, and it's what's happened, and Kittredge showing up and bringing up the IMF, which is like not supposed to be known by the upper, like politics of the situation, right? Which one again I thought it was fun, but having that be yet again one of those things where like it's like blanketed to, even at its core mission of the whole entity, it's a choice to not tell specific people in government about this organization.
Yeah. And as agents, for them to then, this is their mantra, you could say, right? They are doing what they do because they choose to do it, not because they're being commanded to do it.
Right.
They always have a choice. And it's so crucial for the themes of this movie, especially in incorporating the entity.
Yeah.
The entity, this AI sentient. I was going to say being, but no,
it's just sentient.
This AI algorithm,
something like that,
right? That has so much knowledge and understands individuals to the point where it feels like they no longer have choice, right? And we see that with Gabriel being the Messiah, so to speak, as he's talking to Ethan and explaining that one Ilsa or Grace are going to die, right? And he even mocks him, so to speak, by saying the choice is yours, but the choice has already been made.
Right.
Right.
But, well, okay, so because I rewatched it, it's still, the choice was, though the choice was his, but also like it was left up to the whole party. Because in that scene, we have Ilsa's back, right? Many of us thought that maybe Ilsa would be brought into IMF, which I thought she was no longer disavowed, but she's still disavowed.
She keeps getting.
Oh, she keeps getting disavowed.
She keeps getting disavowed. Yeah.
And then we've got the White Widow, who Kirby.
Vanessa Kirby is awesome,
dude. Her facial expression, is phenomenal. But yet again, Grace's character and Ethan Hunt's character in this like party scene with these parties, the subtext, the deliverance of acting that comes between those two in this kind of heated situation is just so freaking
it's great.
Good. But not only that, like the cinematography that goes into coverage of a scene like this with so many characters, and then the editing to take place to like give to those, so good.
Editing was done by I forgot his name, but he was nominated for Oscar last year for Top Gun.
Oh yes, that's right. Yeah. I can't believe that didn't win, honestly.
Yeah.
But because of, we have the White Widow, who's the broker, who's trying to get this, this key to unlock or to control this entity, and specifically hires Grace's character, which doesn't have any allegiance. She's just a thief.
She's just a thief.
Which, again, one of my favorite things that in many of the Mission Impossible, almost everyone, I think, introduced some new character.
Yeah.
That then plays in some bigger role, right? But in this scene is so powerful in that he Gabriel's character says to Ethan, like, you choose. Yet he doesn't choose. But when I rewatched it, he's about to kill Grace. He goes to kill Grace, but then Ilsa's character comes through. But the choice is then brought again to Ilsa and Ethan, but she, you know what? Now I'm like processing theory because the AI takes over the voice while Ethan's trying to go save Grace. Masked as Benji over the comms, directs him to a spot which has one of the craziest fight scenes in this like freaking narrow.
I am a sucker for a good hallway scene,
and
this is in a hallway. This was
a next level.
A little, what?
Not even
3 feet.
Maybe
width. Maybe.
Yeah. They had like a half an inch on each side.
Yeah.
Like it was
really well choreographed.
So amazing. Like the fact that the camera guy was in there when like in some of the close up, I'm just like, dude, this would have been insane.
Yeah.
Anyways, but in that thing, the entity then posed the question: you or Elsa, you have the choice. Will you save her, or will you? And knowing full well, somebody's gonna die.
Yeah.
Her or Grace.
I love it.
So
choice, agency, that ability to choose missions, to choose, in this case, someone else's life.
Yeah.
Right. And the entity, in a sense, mocking the whole what the IMF is founded on.
Yeah.
Choice.
Yeah.
It's a great way to a callback to what the IMF stands for. Not the last two, but I think 2 movies ago, there's lots of discussion on whether the IMF is even relevant.
Correct.
Right? And whether they should just completely get rid of this agency, and if it and its purpose in this modern environment. Right?
It's still mocked in this film,
and it continues to be mocked. It continues to be questioned, right? And I love that because of choice and agency. Well, we see how this plays out and the impact that it has on these characters.
Right.
But what a great theme.
Yeah, because like the thing is, like, what we didn't know is that every IMF character, to some degree, had some choice because they had done something, perhaps,
Questionable.
Questionable. That's a great way of putting it. And that every person in the team, or at least agents, are to be, in Kittredge's term, to be of use.
To be of use, yeah. Let's talk Kittredge.
Dude.
In my opinion, okay, no one else is having as much fun as Kittredge in this movie. You can see, what's the actor's name? Henry Cerny. He is having a blast in this movie.
Returning. Dude, I don't know if his eye twitches.
Yeah.
his like cool cucumber deliverance on like,
Ethan, this mission will cost you greatly.
Dude.
The way he pronounces
the cadence, right?
The cadence, it's so good. I just love him.
Well, and not only that, but like, even from the first, because like I rewatched the first one, before seeing, and you rewatched it. It's like he never even forgot what it was like to play him.
He just got back on that horse again.
What I also is Kittredge
good or bad?
Good or bad?
I think he's good. Okay, I think he is good. He does trust Ethan. Ethan trusts him.
Yeah.
Right? Which would be a big blow to me for the character of Kittredge if he becomes evil.
I feel like, oh man, I feel like Kittredge and Ethan are of the same coin.
Yeah.
But the opposite sides. And I don't know exactly why I feel that.
They are in the sense, look, I think, let's go back to the first Mission Impossible. If Ethan had been in Kittredge's shoes, he would have 100% done the same choices as Kittredge. Lured an agent in, tried to understand, because the evidence shows that, yeah, Ethan, you probably did kill your team, and you are the spy, the mole inside, right? Like, I think Ethan would have done the same thing in his shoes. And so they at the end of the day, Ethan and Kittredge just want to accomplish the mission, whatever the mission is.
Right.
And they'll go about it in whatever way. Ethan at times going rogue, many times going rogue to complete the mission. Kittredge,
habitual roguing.
Yeah. Kittredge maybe being a bit like suspicious.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah. Okay.
He will get the mission done, right? Whatever that is.
Oh my goodness! I just had. Yeah. Okay.
So yeah, you're absolutely right. They are the same. They're the same. They're the same coin. Two sides of the same coin. They really are, and it's a great dynamic. I love that scene with the community, and he just confronts him.
I know, and that's freaking in the first like 10 minutes, bro.
And what I love about that scene is Ethan could have been very upset about the fact that Kittredge was the one that put out the bounty on Ilsa, right?
Yeah.
But he gets it. He understands that the mission is to get the half of the key.
Dude, this film, Christopher McQuarrie, the writing team, okay, phenomenal job. Not only in the writing, but in the delivery of like helping with with working with actors to deliver what is needed.
Yeah.
I can't wait to go back and to have the second part come out. We watch it, be blown away, and be able to come back and just like try to piece all of it together again. Because I think there's so many little things that are dropped that like, the fact that that we're pretty sure, you and I, that the White Widow, is the daughter
of Job from the first movie.
Max.
Max. In the first movie. I'm 100% convinced.
Right. Not only that, but that John Lark could actually be Ethan. This is the thought that I had today when I was watching it, because we actually don't know.
We never meet John Lark in
Fallout. But I thought John Lark was it's not Henry Cavill though, right? Because Henry Cavill he's the like apostate guy who writes the note or whatever.
Yeah.
But John Lark is still some character,
in the universe.
In the universe.
A weapons dealer, from what I remember.
Yeah.
Right?
Okay. And yet that never gets solved. And they bring it up again in this one, involving with the White Widow saying, does she still think you're Lark?
Yeah.
And then Ethan says, how do you know I'm not?
Right.
It's just these little things, bro. There's the little things that I'm like, dude, so freaking good. Okay, we're working up on time, bro. We got so much to talk about this. What else? Can we talk about Luther a little bit?
Let's talk Luther. I think this is my favorite appearance of his.
I felt
since the first one.
When do you think? Was it Rogue Nation? Do you think that's Benji's movie? Is that the right one?
Rogue Nation, is that the fourth?
Or Ghost Protocol? I feel like, yes. Basically, what I'm saying is that, like, ultimately, I feel like this is where we get to see Luther. And I don't. Again, maybe this what it is. We're getting a little bit more of a callback to him playing a bit more of a role in the first one, and now again we see how much of a role and a strong character he is in this franchise.
Yeah.
Than we've had in like the last three.
Yeah, I think rewatching these, I had the feeling of like, one, I want Maggie Q back.
Oh yeah.
Okay. And two, Luther I felt he didn't get brushed off to the side, but he hasn't had those moments, especially the third one. The third one, there's some great dialogue between the two of them.
Yeah.
Especially when like Luther like confronts him and he's like, "Did you and Agent Ferris have a thing?"
Yeah.
And he's like, "No, like she's my little sister." And then he tells him how they can't have real relationships. Like Luther is a great character, and I just feel like this movie was a coming back to his acting chops and how great he is as a support to Ethan.
Yeah. Oh, he's
solid.
He's solid. I love that he.
I for sure thought he was going to be the one that would die in this movie.
I feel that these setups. Okay,
yeah.
We've always known Luther as like this tech whiz and Bungie, but like tech whiz / the guy who kind of helps with like logistics and some of these other things. Okay. In this film, and I'm reminded that he was this sort of character. In fact, I wonder, now that I'm thinking about this, I'm wondering if Luther, the first mission that Luther's brought on is when he was more of a criminal entity, because he was.
Yep.
And then that mission then gave him the choice in that mission, and that was him coming into the IMF.
Well, we know he was an agent, and then he did something, which is where he gets his nickname.
Yeah.
That then got him disavowed.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, you're right.
And then he gets all that erased by helping Ethan in that first one.
Yeah.
And that's when he comes back.
But not only that, but they're like throwing out that he's a super skilled programmer.
Which that's so strongly that's so strongly hinted at in the first one, but we didn't get to see in the other, like after 3, I feel like.
Yeah.
Until now again. So again, I love that we're giving the character its due diligence, and just awesome. I don't know why. I still feel like he's gonna die.
Someone's gonna die.
I mean,
if not, several people are gonna die.
So let's talk Ilsa, right?
Yes, Ilsa.
I for sure thought she would be the one to take over the franchise. Prior to this, I was like, I like her. Rebecca Ferguson is really, like, she's charming. She's really great with the action sequences.
She's as good as
Ethan Hunt. Always getting disavowed. But like, yeah, I was not expecting that.
I don't think to me, I never felt like she was ever gonna take over the franchise because she's from MI6.
Yeah, what's signing a couple papers, giving her citizenship in the States, and she's good. Like,
you know, having her come over and join. Oh, join the IMF and just be part of that. So my thing is that I felt like she was going to become a bigger role, but I never felt like. I think after when she in Rogue, I thought she would.
Okay.
But then Fallout came out, and then I felt like it wouldn't.
Yeah.
And so to me, I'm like, I loved her. I love her character. I think it's not only that, but like I love the relationship that Ethan and she have.
Mm-hmm.
That it's like, and it's the relationship that like he both of them can have to the best they can with the lives that they live for what they do.
Mm-hmm.
Again, being on weird sides of the same coin of the coin of her, where Ethan has the line of like, I will wait for a mission to be called upon and I will go and accept it.
Yeah.
Where she, I think to a degree, sees that there's no other way and goes and does the dirty work so that maybe someone else does. It's almost as if she's her own I am. She's not an I am, but she gets disavowed all the time because she's realizing she can't make the calls that she needs to do or get involved in situations she can without having the red tape.
Right. Yeah.
And I'm not sure if that's 100%, but that's as I think about it. And she doesn't have a lot of lines in this film.
No, she doesn't.
But she has a very strong presence, and I think it's to bring us the emotion between her and Ethan.
Yeah. Yeah. Ooh, and which pays really well.
Yes.
With her death scene.
Yeah. That scene is beautiful. That whole sequence. Oh man, it's a beautiful sequence.
It is. It really is. Leading up from the fight, the chase, the running. It was really good. Let's talk action sequences.
Oh my goodness.
What was your favorite one?
My favorite one?
Action sequence, yeah.
Oh my goodness, dude. Do you have one?
I do.
Start with.
I'll start with one. I love the airport sequence. I love the Abu Dhabi airport sequence for many reasons. I'm a sucker for a good like cat and mouse scene, right? Like they're trying to find who has the key. They get the key, it gets taken away, pickpocketed from here, from there. Like they're going back and forth. You have the community agents that are being the cops trying to find Ethan. And this introduction of, I think I liked it also because this is where we're really introduced to the potential and the threat that is the entity, right? He's creating images and that are in the camera and that are not there, right? And I love also the
So Luther does that though.
No, but then he does that for Gabriel.
No, so Luther. I'm glad. So Luther writes, because I think what happened is that there's a moment where Benji comments to Ethan. Ethan, can you please tell our hack or whatever is, I think, anyways, that I'm just as good of capable of a coder as it. And he's like, I don't want to be in touch with this. And they have that little thing. I think he's coding something to mask Ethan's on the
screen
for the screen for the community
agents. Yes.
Okay, but then the entity is ghosting Gabriel.
Yes. That's
Okay.
Yeah. So I love that. I love that this cat and mouse chase between them. There is some big guns or explosions or anything like that. It's just the intensity. It's building. We're introduced to Grace in that scene. What a great way to introduce a character, and who she is. I love everything about that scene.
I love that you brought that up because that there's not a shootout.
There's no shootout.
How easy would it have been to just like start shooting?
Yeah.
I love that they didn't. I love that like it was this like them trying to take it like without any conflict, right?
They contain it, and then also you have the parallel conflict of the bomb that's about to go off. Right?
Oh my gosh!
With enough comedy beats, but not too distracting with the intensity of the scene, right?
This is how you introduce a new character. This is like this franchise, and I think McQuarrie fully understanding the world. The team entirety again came to a full understanding of what it means to have this level of danger to help raise the stakes.
Yeah.
Right. Yet provides us with understanding that these people know what it is to be in these situations all the time. That helps us have the little moments of like little reliefs of of everything.
Yeah. It's a great movie. I love that sequence. I really love that sequence.
I really love that sequence too. That's why I was like, I don't know if I'm like, this is such a heartbreaking question. I think the one that I might end up, that I would pick would probably have to be the car chase scene
in Rome.
God,
it's so good.
Okay. We have had several there's been several cars, like in Mission Impossible or in Fast 10, there are car chases. Okay. They've had many car chases. That movie, although it just like, not only that, but like that movie also had a character from the past, because of consequences from the team.
Yeah.
This Gabriel character has like, this Mission Impossible does everything that Fast 10 wanted to do, but better. By freaking 70 times. Okay? Because they bring this character who's Gabriel, who has some connection to Ethan by killing somebody that he possibly loved.
Mm-hmm.
And him having, from his past life, that truly made him who he is. Right? But we didn't get a whole freaking backstory. Okay?
We'll get to that. I have thoughts.
Okay. We didn't get the whole situation. We just get this little moment. But yet he's a fanatic, where the same thing is in Fast 10, where like Jason Momoa's character, although he's freaking wild and it's just like a freaking trip, I like almost really appreciate this very like less flamboyant, not flamboyant, but like peacocky style fanatic, if you want, if per se, right?
Yeah.
Because it hits so much harder.
Okay. So I didn't care for the whole backstory to Ethan Hunt.
I don't.
Now, I know that this is part one and there's going to be payoffs in part two.
That's fair.
I get that. But we've gone this far in almost 30 years in the story of Ethan Hunt that I personally just don't really care for it. And maybe I would care for it if it was if we dug into it a little bit more. I don't know, but like I like the idea that Ethan is just part of the IMF. I feel like we're forcing. We've already dug into the personal life in the other ones with Jules, him being engaged and married, cutting off that relationship for her safety, whatever it is. I like that. That's great. I don't know. For me, like I like we're going into the past, or not the past, but the functionality and mechanics of the IMF and how that works. I just didn't really care to like know like, oh, why is Ethan who he is, right? But that's just me. That was just me. That's my only criticism.
I don't know. I just appreciate that there. I don't necessarily know, because it's not it's just a quick line.
Yeah.
We do know that Gabriel has some sort of character. But the thing here in this movie is that there's not a clear villain.
That's true. Yeah. Yeah.
We know the entity is
what we're going after.
Is what they're going after. We know that every freaking world player wants to have it.
Right.
Right. We also like there's just so many things that are involved. We know that Gabriel, this character, is like his chosen messiah, but that doesn't mean like he's just a fanatic. He believes everything that he's being fed, and he doesn't like, he thinks that it's correct.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And so there's a pressure, there's somebody that is causing danger, and that could be a threat, but that's not necessarily to say that it's the person that, it's just a machine.
Yeah.
It's calculating billions of things and understandings of trying to figure out, what they're, and it just wants to stay alive at this point.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. And, so anyway, so I think, to me, I felt like that was really interesting for when it comes, the reason why I love the chase scene sequence, because I didn't actually answer that, is the fact that like, we get, it's the first time we do get a sense of Gabriel's threat,
mm-hmm.
but also just the sense of excitement, the sense of how much fun the actors are having.
Yeah.
The what's the girl who plays Mantis, but who plays Paris?
Palm Clementif.
Palm Clementif. phenomenal.
She's great.
She doesn't have. She's this like mercenary character.
Mm-hmm.
She's got this like homage to like a noir, very like mysterious sort of like figure who's just trained killer, but she like just small little micro expressions that like hits so hard in these little moments. I mean, she's driving this like military Humvee through the freaking this spot where they crashed into the little mopeds.
Oh yeah,
and she's just like rushing through it, and she's got this
the biggest smile in it. Like she's like, yeah, I get to do this.
But she's a fierce fighter.
Yeah,
like she did great for training, or if, I don't know if she's had other experience, but it was to me like that sequence, and not only that, but the like this weird. A little of the cat and mouse again, right? Left over from the airport in Abu Dhabi. They're in Italy. They have this like silly little electric Fiat from the IMF.
From the IMF.
That they're trying to chase and get away from. But then the finale is that like Ethan gets played by Grace yet
again. And it's such a great way. Again, using action sequences to introduce elements of a character.
Yes.
Right? And I think it's awesome. I think oftentimes, like the John Wick movies, the action sequences, great, awesome, phenomenal choreography, right? But it really is just
an action sequence.
Right. Whereas here we're having dialogue and moments to get to know this character that by the end of the movie we absolutely love and fall in love with.
Her freaking like taking the police car, just like crashing it in every single corner, trying to freaking get away. So good.
So good. I'm gonna say this again. I've said it before. We need to give more credit to our stunt doubles.
Yes.
Right? Why the Academy has not created a category for stunt doubles, I don't know. But especially after just seeing Indiana Jones with the big blue screen in the back and that driving sequence, this just feels so much threatening. Oh, the sense of danger, and I said this while we were in the middle of the theater where that sequence ends, and I looked at you. I'm like, that's how you do a car scene.
Yes,
right. I feel it. Whereas in Indiana Jones, I never felt anyone was in danger, and I don't know if we as an audience have just become numb to CGI backgrounds, backdrops. And we know that in that case, Harrison Ford was not really riding a horse. He was on some kind of mechanical horse, and the backdrop or whatever the chase scene was. But like this feels real. And the choreography that goes into it, the planning, the execution, you feel the danger.
Yeah. Right?
And I felt, and I'll say this, going back to Indiana Jones, The Last Crusade, right? When he is climbing up on the truck and going under the truck and whatever.
Last Crusade,
right? That felt
Lost Ark. I don't know.
Lost Ark. Yeah, that was Raiders. Yeah, when he's going up and pulling the guys off the truck. That I feel the danger. I feel that something bad could happen here. I did not feel it with Dial of Destiny, but I felt it again here because it's practical stunts that are happening.
Look, I get it. Like you have different actors. You like maybe whatever they want to do, but like, freaking delay the movie. Delay the movie. Wait to like make it a little bit more stunt doubly, but like shoot the sequence that you need for those moments with the actual actors in a sequence. Make us feel like the moment is providing, because like in both situations, in Dial of Destiny and in this movie, there's a new character that our main character is being introduced to and is having this situation, right?
Yeah.
In this one, in Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning, we get so much from their little interactions of them trying to like drive this little car and get away from the scene, and him trying to get away from Palm's character, from trying to kill him, the whole kit and caboodle. I think back to Dial of Destiny when we watched it together, and just thinking that like it was like, oh, it's just like her having fun with Teddy, and then Indy's along for the ride.
Yeah. Or even I was thinking of the first Extraction, right? That car scene.
Yeah.
One, superior, just incredible. But we're also learning about what's Chris Hemsworth's character's name? Anyways,
Yeah.
his character and the kid that he's trying to protect. There isn't a lot of dialogue happening, but we're learning. There are things that are being set up here about the attachment between these two characters in this chase scene that then later pay off.
Yeah.
That the kid then has an attachment to Chris's character.
Yeah.
That's how you do a proper action sequence. You don't do action sequence just to have an action sequence. You do it, but you incorporate elements that help grow the character or give us character development that then pays off later.
Correct. I think the fight choreography in this film just so good.
One of my things that I have a bit of a love-hate relationship with something that happened in this movie.
Okay.
I was watching the first one, Mission Impossible. Cinematography in it's great, especially that scene in the first Mission Impossible with Kittredge and Hunt at the restaurant, right? And as soon as great scene, but as soon as Ethan starts making the connection that everyone here is
IMF agents,
I'm being set up, right? Brian De Palma does the decision to have those angled lower shots,
Dutch
right?
angles,
Dutch angles, right? And it creates the tension, and you feel it, and it goes between Kittredge, it goes between Ethan, and he's realizing, oh, suck, I'm screwed here.
Yeah.
Right? Love that.
Okay.
We haven't had a lot of those Dutch angles in these Mission Impossibles. It comes back here, but it was way overdone. The first couple times when it was happening, I'm like, yes, I'm feeling the tension. And then it kept going. I'm like, all right, let's tone it down. Let's tone it down. Let's do some wide angles. Like, this is just too much. It's happening too much to the point where I just felt not claustrophobic, but I just felt like, and maybe I'm one of those people who just because I had seen the first one and I loved how well it was used, and then this time at first I was like, yeah, and then by the time I was like, no, that's too much.
So I think part of it is that maybe you did, because you did see the first one, and you recently, right? I think if you just saw it, my thing for me is that the Dutch angle is supposed to make us feel uncomfortable.
Yeah,
every single time, every time it was leveraged, it was always in a tenseful, stressful situation.
Yes.
So like, physiologically, our mind knows that something's wrong with the shot.
But when you're overdoing it, no longer do you feel uncomfortable. At least for me, I was just annoyed.
That's fair. Okay, that's fair.
By overdoing it, I'm no longer uncomfortable. Now I know. Now it's heavy-handed that you're making me want to be uncomfortable.
I wonder how many people agree with you.
Listeners,
let us know.
Let us know
in the comments. Do you like the Dutch angle?
I love the Dutch angle.
No. In like the amount used in this film.
Yes, let us know, because I'm a sucker for it. I love it, but I just felt like it was overdone, and I was being manipulated to want to feel something when you should have just let the story do it.
Okay.
Yeah, well, that's my biggest criticism of this movie, which isn't that big because this movie was so good.
Freaking good. The train sequence is also good. You know, man, this film.
Let's speculate a little.
Let's do it.
We've declared and claimed that the White Widow is going to be the daughter of Max.
Correct.
Okay. Reason being is because the first movie ends with Kittredge and Max coming to some kind of agreement, not arresting her, but saying, "Look, let me use your resources." And in this movie, Kittredge makes a comment to the White Widow saying something along the lines of, "Look, your mother and I
had an agreement.
Blah, 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 blah."
Yeah.
Right? So we're calling it, Max is going to be the mother of White Widow.
Do they even say it, or do they just leave it as like an unsaid thing in the film?
No, I think they have to like...
Why? They did. We also know that
I think it's so specific that he says, "Look, your mother and I."
Yeah, but we also know that from the Fallout, earlier in the film, that she's someone who, even in Fallout, at the end of Fallout, they say that they let her do so that they continue doing some barter deals between her as a broker.
Right.
And then this one, they re-emphasize that. Again, if Kittredge then reconfirms or brings us to the thought that like, oh no, this is Max's daughter.
Yeah. I think they have to let us know that was the whole plan.
Okay.
I would love that little payoff.
Okay, that's fair. Okay, my thought? Who dies
in the next one?
In the next one,
Luther.
Luther dies.
Yeah.
Does that break Ethan?
I think that puts Ethan in a position to take a lesser role within the universe, within the cinematic universe, and too much loss. He's lost Jules, he's lost Ilsa, he's lost Luther. It doesn't break him, but it like makes him question like, what am I doing? Maybe I should be no longer be on the field. In the field.
I think Benji and Luther die.
I hope Benji doesn't die, man.
I think Benji and Luther die. I think that
who's left over then for the new team?
Wait. Then I think. Oh man. Okay. That's fair. So you're saying that Benji stays, takes more of Luther's role.
Mm-hmm.
I think that the one of the black character,
one of the community agents,
community agents comes over to IMF.
Mm-hmm.
Grace is the agent that we follow in the Mission Impossible movie. Like she takes over she saves Ethan.
Okay.
Because because I don't know, but maybe she's gone through some sort of like quick training program. Maybe not. I don't know because the things they left it open to be like, it could be like a month.
Yeah, the next one could pick up
right after,
or a year or whatever.
I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, it'll be interesting. I think that's the only thing where I'm just like, she has no like actual like,
I mean,
training besides like she's great at pickpocketing, right?
Yeah, she also, I mean, like literally half the movie she's like, I don't know how to do. What am I supposed to do?
Yeah,
you'll figure it out.
You'll figure it out. No, but So is this our claim?
Does Kittredge die? Does Kittredge get more involved?
I would love for Kittredge to stay. He is great in the voiceover and handling the missions, right? Like he is solid. I love hearing his voice when a mission is being assigned. I would like for him to stay.
I do too. I think yeah.
But then what would so Tom Cruise said part 1, part 2 would be kind of it for him. Recently during his press junkets, he's kind of voiced that he wants to continue being in the Mission Impossible movies.
Yeah.
And what kind of role? Not sure.
Yeah.
Right? But so is your
I don't know. I'm just posing the question. Like,
would you like Grace to be kind of the one that takes over?
I think I would.
As our protagonist?
I think forward? I would. I think I would. I think as a protagonist, I think that she could be a great like stepping as like she could take a role as like a protagonist too, that we follow as she gets better, and she's joined by Benji. Let's say Luther dies. Benji sticks around to help with some of the technical stuff. We have Ethan as some sort of like leader role. He has to take over some sort of leadership situation, so he's maybe not as or I don't know, or maybe he just walks away.
Yeah.
In some capacity, he tries to become a ghost, even more of a ghost. And then we get introduced to some other agents in a film that is more Atwell focused.
Yeah.
And we bring back some other characters from some of the, maybe, we can bring back some other characters from the other films and like let that be what happens. Because I think instead of having, because like she's at this age where like she plays something similar to what like he does that Ethan Hunt was in the first one, where he's young, he's experienced, he kind of can fly on his feet, but also like he's got experience. We don't know how long he's been in the IMF or whatever, but he seems young as an agent.
Yeah.
Right. And so because of that, I feel like maybe there could be something in that we have that here. She gets more of like a maybe Mission Impossible 2 style, like level mission.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Here's what I would love. Ready?
Yeah.
This will never happen. But here's what I would love. So in the first one, John Boyd's character, Jim Phelps.
Mm-hmm.
So the character of Jim Phelps is the character from the TV show. I don't know if you knew that.
Oh,
so,
yes.
Because the TV show, right, in the 70s, the main protagonist is Jim Phelps. Then in the movie, Jim Phelps is older and ends up being the bad guy. And then, so that mantle of Jim Phelps going over to Ethan Hunt.
Mm-hmm.
Have Ethan Hunt become the bad guy?
Ethan Hunt becomes the villain as John Lark?
You either, how does it go? You either die as the hero or you live long enough to become the villain.
Ooh.
But no, Tom Cruise would never allow Ethan Hunt to be the bad guy. But no, I think that's great. I think like that. Have Ethan Hunt become kind of like the Jim Phelps, where in that first mission, Jim is just kind of overseeing everything. Yeah. He's giving direction, giving guidance, right? And let Tom Cruise kind of be that, but we're following Grace's character in future movies.
Yeah. I think
it'll be fun to come back to this episode in like 4 years and like see how
when a new Mission Impossible comes out with that, you know. I don't know. To me, to me, having an ending to this era of Mission Impossible, whether that be Benji dying or both, or Luther dying, or both of them dying and causing that conflict, and then having it close but open up a new chapter with new characters because they come together to work as a team. To me, that would feel like a wonderful send-off, or for a new beginning for Mission Impossible. And because then, like, unlike in James Bond, where it's always James Bond, we have the mantle is now handed. So we have the Ethan Hunt saga, right? Mm-hmm. Now we're gonna open up to Grace, and my thing is, will we get her will we have a last name?
Will we have a last name? Yeah.
Right, or a real name, right? And so with that situation happening, I just think because it's like this ending for what we know as like Ethan Hunt, is like might be the end for, maybe not for Ethan, but for for this portion of this chapter of this series
saga, like you said. Yeah.
It would just be nice to have something to like open it up, bring in new characters that we can then kind of like connect with, so that when we have the new one come up, we can then truly fall in love.
And I think a lot of this falls on Tom Cruise setting those expectations to the viewers during press junkets. I think he needs to start communicating and saying, like, this is it, like this, I'll still be in these movies, but we're doing a handoff. And I think the sooner you start communicating that out to audiences, the better the expectation is set, the less people are going to revolt and be like, no, we want Ethan. Ethan's our only, like, you can't do these without Ethan, right? Like, I think you need to start planting those seeds now in the marketing, in communications, in press junkets, whatever. Not giving away the movie and the plot or anything like that, but start setting those expectations.
Do you think that they'll do that? When you think they should start that now?
I felt like they were starting to do that when Tom said, like, oh yeah, like this is a part 1 and a part 2 that's leading to a conclusion. But
to what we've been building.
To what we've been building, right? But like, I think that needs to be more communicated and more clear.
That's fair. All right. This movie
is great.
You should definitely
watch this. Go to theaters. We're going to come back to this as to why this movie during our episode of the summer box office. But
we the next couple of weeks are going to be wild.
Yeah.
So get your popcorn. As thank you for sharing with your friends, so we could actually have this episode.
Yeah.
Before it self-destruct. But
thank you for listening. You've been listening to Reel Chums, where talking about movies feels like hanging out with friends.
And we really hope you enjoyed this episode. And we truly, this movie had us talking. Just this last thing I want to say is that, like, this movie made me feel that spark of what a film can do in theaters.
Yeah.
Which is like, you walk out of that thinking, holy crap.
I just experienced something. Which I haven't felt in a while. And quite a bit. Yeah. And we'll talk about this in our upcoming episode, but this is a great movie. Yeah. This is a phenomenal movie. It gives us an experience. It's getting people to come out.
Yeah.
Right? And it's getting people talking. And that's what a movie should do.
That's exactly what a movie should do.
Yeah.
So if you are listening, you've got this far, you are an MVP, and we love your face. Be sure to comment or when you're leaving a review for why you love this podcast, so we can get discovered by others in wherever you get your podcast. Comment to us, who is your favorite Mission Impossible character?
Ooh, that's a good question. That's a very good question.
I'll go comment later when I post this video.
More importantly, we want to continue to hear from you. Did you like this movie? Did you not? What was your favorite action sequence? Who's your favorite character? Let us know. You can always connect with us via email at reelchums.com or connect with us on Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, Threads now at Reel Chums. You can also follow me or Danny on Twitter. I'm on Twitter as Marstrosity, MARZTROSITY.
And I'm Rubio_TV or Rubio.tv, wherever, anywhere else. Join us next week as we discuss Oppenheimer.
Or Barbie.
Well, which one? Wait, we have Oppenheimer on the docket. Are we going to try to go with which one wins?
I think whichever one is getting talked about more. I think is what we're going to do.
We'll put a poll. Follow us on social.
Put a poll. Let us know which one you want first. Oppenheimer or Barbie.
See you in the next one.
Later.